Good morning and welcome along for our weekly live stream from FM20 with Burnley. It's our Youth Academy challenge and we are continuing today as we look to take Burnley to the end of the season and somehow by miracle overturn the disaster that was last week's results. So any of you that were here last week, you'll know that we lost basically every game. We didn't do very well and we basically got ourselves out of Europe and in from domestic competitions as well. So it's going to be a tough road back today, and I think it's probably going to end in mediocrity here. We'll probably have 2 more episodes to fill the season. We've got 8 games left, so we'll probably do 4 in each unless we have a European miracle. And that will sort of end us up with the end of the season coming towards mid-October. Then we can maybe do some streams talking about FM21, maybe a transfer special with Cliftonville if that's still going well. We'll see as we move along. But otherwise, I'm really looking forward to this, mainly not because of the FM with Burnley, but because we've got lots to look forward to. Since we were here last week, FM21's been announced. We're looking forward to that in November this year. We've had a massive week in the footballing world. My beloved Luton Town have played Manchester United, of course. We've had our first derby in 14 years. Not that either went particularly well. But there's plenty to be excited about. There's loads of football this week too, and everything is coming back. So I'm hoping you're looking forward to this one as well. A massive thank you for coming along this morning. If you are looking forward to the stream, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Come and get involved down in the chat. I know normally the first 10 or 15 minutes we're all waking up and then it normally gets quite busy talking football. So I hope you're looking forward to it and I hope you're ready for some Football Manager as well. Because fingers crossed we can take Burnley back into a respectable position. So if we have a look at what we've got to look forward to this morning, we've got 8 games left. So the first half of that is Everton at home, which is today's game. They are 13th, directly below us. We've then got Rennes in the second leg of the Europa Conference quarter-final, having been battered 4-0 at home in the first leg, and then Stoke and Leeds at home before a pretty horrific run-in, to be honest. So they're the games we've got to try and get results in. I mean, Stoke are a top 5 side here. They've just fallen out of the Champions League spaces, but they're still a top quality side. So it's going to be very difficult to catch them and to get any sort of result against them. But we start with Everton, a big game for us today. And if we have a look at the preview, we are just about favourites. Both teams in all poor form. We're in woeful form as it happens. But Turf Moor is sold out and looking forward to a big game up here. So we're going to stick with the first 11 that got battered in midweek, mainly because we want a reaction out of them. I mean, Leon Lowry's the only one I'm tempted to change. He did score in his penultimate game, but he's not had a good game in some time. So do we think about taking him out? Sunday Balogun is the best player, is the top goal scorer. Let's go for it. Sunday Balogun will come in. No time for pleasantries now. It is Burnley v Everton, and the 11 we've gone for is as strong as possible. So we've got Grondona in goal. In fact, no, we haven't. Summerskill back in. Nearly forgot the European keeper again. Summerskill in goal. Bonner and Vim are the fullbacks with Flauhaut and Simpson centre-half. Vaughan, Bartels, Xavier and Edmonds in midfield. And Phil Richards behind Balogun up front. A big opportunity today. Let's go and get into it. Let's submit the team. And fingers crossed we can end this horrific losing run. Because that would be an absolute disaster if it can continue. It's already been 5 or 6. We can't be doing with more. Thank you to everyone that's joining along. Good to see a few of you in already. Please do put a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. I hope you're looking forward to today's one. Fingers crossed it can't get any worse than last week. It's taken a while to process to the game, but we'll live with that for now. Fingers crossed there's plenty of positives to follow. So in we go. Burnley v Everton. And I'm not confident. I'm really not. I could lie to you and say that it's all going to be fine, that we'll be alright. I don't believe it. So I'm not going to tell you that. However, if we do end the winless streak, the top half finish isn't out of the question. We're probably not going to get in Europe again. And the miracle in the Europa Conference isn't going to happen now. But a 4-4-2 for Everton, 2 holding midfielders. And that Palacios looks a real player. So let's have a look at where he's from. He's world class as well, which doesn't help. So where did he start out? He was at River Plate, went to China, then went to Brazil, then went to Real Madrid. Then went back to China for 70 million and now has come to the Premier League. Certainly a distinguished career and some strange decisions as well. Jordan Pickford's still in goal. That's a big one for them, of course. Not had the best start to the season in real life and we've got the lads motivated. So let's go and get into the first half and just try and get on the front foot. Something we haven't been able to do in recent games. 10 minutes gone, no real highlights, no real action yet. As Vimmer picks it up on the left side to Vinicius Xavier. Richards crosses, Bartels there. He's had a poor run as well, and it's over the bar. Bartle not able to do anything this time. And although we've had a few early chances, no one's hit the target just yet. And now we've got an injury. Phil Richards off. Ashley Harrott will come on for him. And you just keep getting little signs near the start of games that maybe this is going to be a bad day. And every single week we get one. But Sunday Balogun with a free kick. Oh, that's stunning. That is stunning, Sunday Balogun. What a decision to bring him back in the team. Sunday Balogun, the hero. And that is a wonder strike. 1-0 Burnley, and we needed that. If we win this game, we go to 45 points. 9 off Europe with, 5 games to play? 6 games for us. We've got 1 in hand. I'm not sure that'll be enough, to be honest. When you consider that we've got to play Arsenal, Spurs, was it United or Liverpool, and Stoke, 4 of the top 5. It doesn't bode well. And as quick as we've celebrated a goal, it's back to 1-1. Montgomery taps it in. Again, we failed to defend the set piece. And I don't think I can really legislate for that. That is awful defending. What's Montgomery like? He is Northern Irish key centre-half. Bit like Johnny Evans, actually, stats-wise. But, oh dear, every time it seems to be. No real excitement the second half of the season. We've just sort of collapsed and petered out. It's a bit difficult. Craig's getting excited by that concession. He always would be, wouldn't he? Wapos, good morning as well. What a way to come in. Great free kick indeed. Unfortunately, it all went pear-shaped pretty quickly afterwards. Didn't take long. But we are putting pressure on them. And if nothing else, it's been an encouraging performance. Much better than recent weeks. And we're on the front foot again with Edmonds on the left. He's charging inside. Chance to play through, but instead trying to run it all himself. Edmonds back inside to Xavier. He's got the left back with him, but goes wide to Balogun. But that means there's not really anyone in the box, apart from Jack Vaughan. He knocks it down, and Harrott's on rushing. But his shot's blocked behind for a corner. Not the best in the world, but at least we're creating something. We look like we're putting up a fight today, as Balogun's corner beats everyone. Vinicius Xavier will keep it in, or won't he? Just sort of punted it out for a throw there. Little bit weird. But there we go. An hour on the clock. 1-1. A better performance. It doesn't look like the results coming though. We've got the throw in with Vimmer on the left. Up to Ashley Harrott. Left side of the box. Chance to cross here. Oh, he's been left alone. Oh, Jordan Pickford nearly made a howler. Just went through his arms, but it went wide of the post somehow. Not quite sure how he's managed that. Balogun will take that corner to the back stick. Montgomery, the goal scorer, heads away for Everton. And Vinicius Xavier gives it away. And now it's a 2-on-2. This is not the start we were looking for. Savani on the right-hand side. Into the box. Vimmer wins the tackle. Corner kick Everton, though. The pressure's not gone. Let's make some changes. Bartle replaced by Matas. And on the left wing, Dwight McNeil will come on. Nowhere near his best anymore. But Edmonds is struggling physically. And we've got that big game on Thursday where we've got to try and overturn something. Thank you to everyone that's joining along again. Good to see the number of viewers creeping up still. Please do put a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. And I hope we can nick a winner against Everton to make this worthwhile. Billy Gilmore's come on for them, another real player. For us though, we've dominated the match without really looking that threatening. It's Ashley Harrott on the right wing. Chance to play inside. Finds Vinicius Xavier 35 yards out. Back to the right back, Callum Bonner. Chance to play down the line. He's trying to take him on himself though. Back heel to Xavier. Man inside him's Matas. Through to Vaughan. Vaughan's got 2 with him. Goes back again. No real conviction. It's the safe option every time. And that's the problem when confidence is lacking. Xavier to Harrott. 25 yards. To Xavier again. Switches to Dwight McNeil, the experienced left winger. Chance to cross it in. Vaughan's there. Jack Vaughan heads in. And it is 2-1 Burnley. It is thoroughly deserved on this performance. And no dubious handballs, Craig. Thankfully that law change is not in FM20. I can't wait to see how many penalties there are in next year's game though. Oh, but then they've got a corner straight away. Oh, it's not happened again, is it? Dwight McNeil off the line. A brilliant save, Summerskill first. But every time we score a goal, we then concede a set piece. They're the only 2 shots on targets we've conceded. The first one the goal and the second one off the line there. With 2 minutes to go, we are holding on. Callum Bonner on the right to Harrott. Bonner again. Ball into the box. Balogun's there. Oh, he's hit the bar. Just when it could have been wrapped up and it's hit the crossbar. 3 minutes added on. Let's go and make changes. We're going to have wing-backs on defence still. That's fine. Drop to balanced. We are going to be disciplined. We are going to drop the tempo. We're going to time waste. Craig will be loving this. Slow the pace down. Slower defensive line. Lower line of engagement. We're not going to press their goalkeeper. He can have it as long as he wants. And we're going to get into the 3 minutes added on. Can we restrict the chances? We have. It's a 2-1 victory for Burnley. The Phil Richards injury a worry, but we've just got a sniff of European football. Just a tiny little sniff. It's not going to happen through Europe because I have no doubt we're going to lose. But either way, a good start. A really good hope. Woppers, I genuinely hope they leave that out the game. Yeah, I mean, many of us do, but to be honest, it wouldn't be realistic if they did. I guess I would say, though, having managed in La Liga this year, it had already been applied last season in La Liga and in Serie A, and I didn't notice a huge difference there. I did notice a few more penalties in this year's game, but I don't think they were for handballs necessarily. But yeah, we're all in agreement it's awful, but I don't really know what the solution is because the law changes are just making it more complicated. And unfortunately, it's what a lot of people get. We complained when it was simple and the referees were making the judgment call. So, I don't know. Either you give everything as a handball, you let the referees decide between deliberate and unintentional. I mean, the ones like Eric Dyer, where he's facing the other way, he can't even see where the ball's coming. It's getting a bit silly. And there were 3 or 4 of them at the weekends. But on more positive news, we're back in the top half with Burnley. We are just about in European contention, although with the run-in we've got, it's going to be virtually impossible, if we're being brutally honest. We're in 10th place, we're 9 points off, we've got a game in hand. So we've got the midweek game against Rennes, we're 4-0 down from the home leg, so I don't see a recovery there. In terms of our next league fixtures, have I missed it? There's not one there. When's the next one then? Is Stoke the next one after that? Can't be that long, surely. It is. We've got a week and a half after the Rennes game. So if we were meant to be playing Arsenal and they were in the FA Cup semi-final, that's why. So it looks like that run-in, Arsenal, Tottenham and United, 3 of the top 4 away from home. Stoke in 5th place at home. It's going to be a horror run-in. And with this Rennes game where we're already beaten, I don't know what we're going to do. If the ball had not headed directly for goal, give an indirect free kick instead of a penalty, that'd help. Possibly, but I guess the thing I would always say growing up is the rare occasions you saw an indirect free kick in the box is there was so much time wasted setting it up. Probably as much as a penalty. But it is a better solution, is to not have penalties for accidental handballs. But I don't know why we can't just accept that it's an accident and get on with the game, to be brutally honest. So I'm not quite sure why it's been made such a big deal. I never really... I understood there were obviously the odd controversial ones, but I never really understood what the problem was before with the referee deciding whether it was accidental or deliberate. Of course they make mistakes. Of course they have their own opinion. It's a subjective decision, but I never saw it as a problem before. But unfortunately, video technology and precise letter of the law stuff is what we're moving towards. So we're just going to have to get used to it, aren't we? But it is what it is. At least we've still got football. That's something we didn't have for months. So we've got something to enjoy at least. And for us, we can go and watch our local non-league team still, which is far more enjoyable. We've got 3 days till Rennes then. And of course, don't forget this evening we will be back with Cliftonville as well. We're building up to a dramatic conclusion to the season. I'm really enjoying that one at the moment. And I've seen so many of you there. So thank you for your support with it. Well, because I'm currently having the most bizarre of seasons, by the way. I'm currently top of the Bundesliga with 1,000 to 1 rated Paderborn side. And the youth takes for this team are actually decent. Must be bugged. I almost thought about doing a Paderborn series at some point. Because their story's brilliant if you've read into it. It's unbelievable. They were saved a reprieve from 4th division relegation by, was it one of the Berlin clubs going out of business or the Munich clubs? I'm sure it was one of the Berlin clubs. And then in the 3rd division, that following season, they got promoted. Then they got promoted straight away from the 2nd tier. And then they had a season in the Bundesliga. It was a brilliant tale. And fair play to them. A similar thing happened to Mallorca in Spain. They came up twice in a row as well. But yeah, it's an interesting story. So to have them top is miraculous, especially if it's early in the game. Because I looked at that team first season and thought, geez, that's going to be a bit too difficult. As it was, I had another disaster from Germany. But the Christmas save, maybe Paderborn next year, we'll see. We are getting towards the midweek fixture now. And we're getting some warnings about Rennes. I mean, I don't know why they're so focused on it. Because we're definitely going to lose the tie. We're 4-0 down after the home leg. It's not going to get much better. But at this point, there's no point getting disappointed or worried by it. 2 days to go until we go out of Europe. I mean, to be fair, to get to the quarter-final first season's not a disaster. I'm going to have to check quickly what the Burnley board wanted from it. Because if they wanted more than that, we could have been in trouble anyway. It's just not quite right. Is that Andre Villas-Boas at Luton Town? Hang on a minute. I'm going to have to go and look at that. That cannot be right. My beloved Luton Town. Andre Villas-Boas. Surely not. I mean, in some of the other saves this year, I've had Neymar in charge of Luton, Cesar Azpilicueta, Bruno Fernandes. I mean, there's been some bizarre ones. But I think that would probably be near the top of the pile. Let's have a look. We definitely saw a message about it, didn't we? Here we go. Villas-Boas ignores Luton speculation. So he's been linked with it. Where is he at the moment? Unemployed. Interesting. He's a very good manager, so I'm sure Luton would benefit from him, statistically. Luton are fourth in the Championship. Hang on a minute. What's going on? My beloved Luton Town are on the verge of Premier League football. We need to stop the stream and find out what's going on here. Where are we? Are any of the original players there? I doubt it because we're 11 years in. And we didn't really have that younger squad. But we've got a 15 million rated striker who's capped at England under 19 level. Doesn't actually look that good. I'm not quite sure why he's there. He's only scored 1 in 5. It's 26 grand a week. That's a lot of money. Let's look at the midfielders. Kitolano looks okay. I mean, they don't look a great squad. I wouldn't initially look at the standout and think, oh, that's a Premier League side in waiting. Certainly wouldn't have thought there'd be 3 sides only that are better in the Championship. It's a very bizarre one. Adam Lewis is there. He was linked with them in the summer, actually. That's strange. Really is strange. Any other older heads that we missed? Josh Earl, Brandon Mason? Not really. That's one of the most interesting stories, I would say, this season. Craig, are they at Power Court? Yeah, they will be. They automatically move in 2023 or 4 in this game. So, yeah, they will be. Woppers, it's the second season now, so, yeah, early game. The team is definitely not up to scratch. Yeah, that you mentioned something I've noticed, actually. All of the seasons where I've had success, a lot of the big teams drop points against each other. And they just slip up in weird fixtures. I don't often feel like this year, in any save, I've won the title via having a brilliant year or just a sublime run. I feel almost a bit like the Leicester year, where it's 1 or 2 others have slipped up, or 3 out of 4 haven't been great. I mean, look at the year we finished second with Gladbach in the head coach, after we left Burnley, ironically. And we finished second in the league, and all the other teams were just dropping points galore. It was bizarre. Maybe it's a Bundesliga thing. I don't know. That's where I noticed it the most as well. But I guess the Bundesliga is an exciting league, so once Bayern and Borussia Dortmund lose a few stars, anyone else could beat each other on their day. But we've got to focus on the miracle now. We are on match day. It is a massive game for this football club. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this. The Rennes fan are expecting comfortable victory. They're a better side than us on paper, as we looked at last week. And they're 4-0 up from the away leg. So they're going to be really confident coming into this home one. They would have thought surely they're going to win. But it is what it is. We've got to match day. We've just got to get through it. And we've just got to see how we get on. Hopefully there won't be any disasters. 4-0 on aggregate. We're the only side that are basically out before we play this game. I'm not sure it's going to be too positive. Frankfurt's your main challenger now. Jeez, that's a very bizarre one. I wouldn't have put my money on that, to be brutally honest. I'm going to leave Summerskill in goal for this game. I'm going to put Harrott in for the injured Richards. And I don't know if there's anything else we're going to do. I think we'll replace... Who's going to go onto the bench? That's the question. Is it Andy May we're going to go for, I think? It's the most natural striker of the lot. Tim Preaker's actually rated better. But Lowry's on the bench. And Balogun scored a screamer in the week. So we should probably stick with them. Bartle's been poor in recent matches. So let's bring Matas on. Can't do any worse from the start, can he? And we'll get into it with that team and just see if we can do it. Okay, so it's 4-4-1-1 for us, 4-2-3-1 for Ren. There's a very strange sequence of events, and hopefully we'll be able to pull off the miracle. But I don't think somehow, as we've accidentally skipped through the team talk, that's not great. And now we're into the game, and we've got to overturn a 4-0 deficit. But I'm sure we'll manage somehow. Tom, how did Mane not get a straight red last night? Well, I know as an Arsenal fan you were going to say that. I'm not sure it was a straight red, to be honest. But I'm not going to convince you as an Arsenal fan, am I? So there's no point me going for it. It was borderline, I would put it as. Okay, 10 minutes on the clock. Ren 4-0 up. It's not looking good, to be honest. We haven't had a shot on target. The only highlight we've seen has had the ball at our end of the pitch. And Summerskill's now playing keepy uppies on the edge of his own box. No real urgency at all. As Flauhaut gets it wide to Edmonds. Chance to take on the fullback. Gets it inside to Harrott. He beats his man and he's into the box. But it's a good challenge in the end. And they've played out so easily. They're keeping it well. They're playing flicks and tricks in their own box. And it's long down the right. Maffeo comes down that side of the pitch. In one-on-one. He's gone alone. Nobody there at all. Summerskill gets the saving in the end, but that's just too easy. And that's the story of why we've gone out here. But we are going forward now into the box. And a header straight at the keeper. Not particularly good. Unfortunately, it's cleared away as Gamara goes long downfield. Sarr picks it up. Chance to get into the box. Beats his man. Puts it wide of the post. And it is comfortable for the goalkeeper. Summerskill playing out. But let's be honest. Ren are still the better side. And this is really difficult to take. So do we just go for it and accept if we lose 10-0 on aggregate we do? Because we don't look like we've got any threat at this point. Harrott over the top to Balogun. No, that might change. Shot straight at the keeper. Either side and it's a goal. Just give us a little bit. Just give us a little bit of help. We just need one to start us off. We can't waste chances on a night like this. Matas delivers straight at the keeper's hands. It was always going to be a disappointing night and it's becoming a frustrating one. Because I feel like this Ren side, with one or two early goals, could be here for the taking. They really could. It's a long ball forward though, and we still look really vulnerable at the back. Tierno into the box and shoots wide. It's too easy. Let's just go for it. We're going to go attacking. We're going to run at the defence. I don't think there's much else we can do, but we're just going to try and get forward more. Put a little bit more pressure on Ren, and if we can get one or two early ones, then great. We'll be excitable. We've got warning to close Tierno down. He's already had 2 goes at our goal. And unfortunately, it's looking very good for Ren. And we're not going to pull off a miracle, are we? I think any tiny glimmer of hope of that has gone. Oh, not like that. That is ridiculous. How on earth is this happening at quarter-final stages of European competitions? Summerskill with Flauhaut 10 yards away from anyone. And he passes it straight to the centre forward who slides in. I don't know what to say about that. Things like that leave me genuinely speechless. Because they continue to happen on the biggest stage. And we don't really deserve to get through. Based on the first leg performance. And even though we've played well here. To let in a goal like that, you don't deserve it. So we now need 5. We're going to tell them it's terrible. And we're just going to see if we get any sort of reaction. But the way we're going at the moment, I don't see it coming. We have competed. It has been an even game. But the damage was done in a home leg, and then to concede a goal like that, you can't legislate. It's Jack Vaughan coming through, though. Can we at least get a goal? If we could score in the tie over 2 legs, that would be lovely. Wimmer on the left side of the box. Chance to cut it back to Xavier. Into Edmonds' left wing. Crosses to Vaughan, who loses out. Lemons puts it clear downfield, and Tierno gets it up front to Sarr. Sarr picks it up on the left-hand side. Long ball through. In towards the centre forward, but Summerskill gets there. And he manages to hold on to it. He does a good job. And he holds it up in goal. Summerskill clears down the left-hand side towards Edmonds. Flicks down for Harrott. Long over the top. Balogun's in. Can he score at last? Beats the keeper and he does score. It is 1-1 on the night. 5-1 on aggregate. But at least it's a goal. At least it's something for the away fans to cheer on the European trip. Charlie, how can VVD not be sent off for repeated foul and abusive language? Yet if an amateur football spoke to a ref like that, he would rightly be sent off. Yeah, you're spot on, to be fair. It's one of the things, I mean, loads of players you see at non-league football get sent off for foul and abusive language. But then, when you're watching the Premier League, it used to be the case with Rooney as well, was always a high-profile one. And you just see people screaming the ref, every expletive under the sun, and nothing happens. And as a non-league player, you get annoyed because you're getting sent off for the same thing. Not myself personally, but I'm putting myself in the shoes. And you're saying, well, actually, I see that on the TV every week and nothing happens. So why are you sending me off? When it's the refs in the Premier League who aren't following the letter of the law there. It does make it difficult to take. So I completely understand the frustration with that. The problem is, and it's not a problem really, is they should start it in the Premier League following it. 3 players aside would be sent off every game, but they'd soon learn. It wouldn't take long. And I've always argued this, even for small things. You look at encroachment in the wall was always one that annoyed me. They made a special foam spray for it. All you needed to do was walk along, book everyone in the line who was moving forward, and it'd stop in a couple of weeks. And you save yourself the spray every time. As Bartle puts one just wide of the post, we've had another chance there. 3 changes made. McNeil, Ruthven and Bartle on, but no change yet. Jamie Curtin, new Enfield FC manager. That's good to see. Always a good player, good goal scorer. Good to see him going into management. He's got a lot to offer people, whether it be coaching, management, whatever. We're going out of Europe, 5-1 on aggregate, but on the night we've done a decent job. If we played anywhere resembling our best in the home leg, this would have been enough. But the goal we conceded here was embarrassing, and the 4 we let in the home leg were ridiculous. So we're out. It's Rennes, it's Rio Ave, Feyenoord and Arb that are through to the last 4. And one of those will win the Europa Conference. The board expectation for it was second knockout round, so we did that. We've avoided relegation in the Premier League, but we failed in both the domestic cups. Over £1 million in the coffers. No trophy for this Youth Academy side, unfortunately. And as it stands, we're out of Europe and we're now going to have to fight to squeeze in the Premier League. But with the running we've got, it looks unlikely. How are you getting on against Bellamina in the Cliftonville save? Don't you dare, Charlie. You know exactly the answer to that. I think you had one of your favourite moments in an episode over the weekend, if I remember rightly. Was it episode 13 where we played Bellamina? I think you enjoyed that one a bit too much. What was your club Feyenoord? On course for a trophy here. We'll keep an eye on that in the next week's one. They're amazing. We deserve to lose. It's just annoying Mane inevitably scored when he shouldn't have been on the pitch. I don't know why the ref wasn't at least told to check it. Now that I do agree with. I don't understand why we're not checking things that are borderline. Because even if for me I'm saying maybe it wouldn't be a red, I can certainly admit it was borderline. It could have gone either way. And at least the ref to have another look at it is the key thing. And with the penalty decisions and the red card decisions, that's supposed to happen. And that's where the frustration comes for fans, isn't it? Is everything is applied inconsistently. And there is no logical explanation for that. Whether I think it's a red, you think it's a red, we'd maybe give a yellow. There is no one here who says the referee shouldn't get the chance to make that decision. And that's it, Craig. Consistency is the key thing. And I'd argue VAR has made it less consistent. Because rather than one person's subjective opinion, the referee and their 2 assistants, you've now got the referee's subjective opinion against the VAR referee's subjective opinion, who's another Premier League referee who would referee a game slightly differently, and they're both working in slightly different ways. So all that's happening is, let's say that Graham Scott's the ref and Paul Tierney's the VAR, as an example. I don't know if that's ever happened, but as an example. What you're essentially getting is Graham Scott's decisions are being overruled by Paul Tierney. So Paul Tierney's refereeing Graham Scott's games. And then when you've got a reversal of that the following week, Paul Tierney's the referee in the middle, but Graham Scott's refereeing the game. And that's where it becomes difficult, because you've got 2 subjective opinions overlapping each other. And when that goes wrong, it's a disaster. See, Craig, you mentioned that ex-pros should be in the VAR room. To an extent, I agree with it. However, a bit like the punditry things, it's very hard if they've been involved or they've got an allegiance with a certain team or even a positive memory of them, which a lot have. It's something that's been done in Formula 1, which I know you watch, where they have a former driver on the panel for decisions, but my argument would be it hasn't made it any better at all. So I don't think you're going to get anything better. The more people you have making a decision, the more subjective decisions you're going to get. So if you add a referee and a player in the VAR room, one, it will take ages because they'll disagree on things. And secondly, you've now got 3 people making subjective opinions. The referee or the assistant, and then the 2 people in the VAR room. So for me, just go back to the referee and keep it 1. VAR and goal line technology, all of the supporting technology, is supposed to be there for things that aren't subjective. The subjective decision should be down to the referees. The only things you need it for are factual decisions. Is it offside? Yes or no? Is it goal over the goal line? Yes or no? In terms of the subjective things, I don't care how clear cut it is on VAR. The referee should be at that screen making a decision. And that's the decision then for football. Is that what you want? But the referee should be making that decision. And I don't care how obvious the VAR ref says it is. So that's where we would go. That's my opinion anyway. Apologies for the rant. Woppers, do you have a community Discord or something similar? So we're just setting it up now. So the Discord, hopefully by next week's stream, if not the week after, we'll be announcing the details that it's live. So it's just being set up. We're going through it. I've had a bit of help with a couple of people. L Gaming came and helped out last week. So yeah, it should be up and running in the next week or so. I definitely want it up and running, ready for FM21. Because I think there's going to be a bit of buzz about that. So yeah, it should be up in the next week or so, in simple terms. Does the "it's too early to send him off" nonsense exist? I don't know. I don't know that it does. I think that's more a problem with yellow cards, if I'm honest. Yellow card fouls that aren't given. I don't think for red cards it comes into it. We've seen plenty before where there's been very early reds. But for yellow cards, I would definitely say it happens still. And far too often for my liking. If it's a bookable offence, book them. But equally, for Premier League referees, not every foul is a yellow card. Would be my advice to them. You know, I'm a very lowly qualified referee in comparison to them and haven't refereed a game for 10 years. But from the few kids games I did do and the one course I did, that was always the thing. Let the game flow. Not everything is a foul. Your job is only to intervene when you have to. If there's something that's a borderline foul, play an advantage until you can. If there's something borderline yellow card, play an advantage till you can. And if it leads to something, if it leads to then a goal, a corner, a shot, a free kick later down the line, then you don't have to get the card out of your pocket. That was always the way to work. But in the first minute, if there's a clear yellow card foul, you give a yellow card. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. So there's a lot of inconsistencies I don't understand. And I'd actually argue that the irony of the VAR and applying the laws of the game properly is that at Premier League level, as Charlie mentioned with the foul and abusive language, as we've mentioned with the too early for a yellow card, the Premier League is the area of the game where the rules are least definitely applied or least consistently applied. And in many areas where they're the most lenient, which is bizarre. I'll never be able to explain that. But it's great to have so many of you in the chat. It's great to have you all along. Please do chuck a thumbs up on if you haven't already. As we've just talked about, there will be a Discord the next week or two. So hopefully a bit more community chat about football, about FM, and hopefully some new series for next year. Tom, on yellows, and I won't bang on about it anymore, but I think Mane should have been booked already on Bellerin. Well, that's a different debate, isn't it? The too early for a yellow. For me, I'm in the school of thought of not every foul is a yellow card. But again, probably borderline that one, isn't it? And that's where it's difficult. You as an Arsenal fan will say yes. Liverpool fans will say no way. And me as a neutral will say could go either way. But I can see why you feel hard done by, because they're both borderline decisions. And the same as vice versa the other way. But I still can't get my head around why you didn't go and look at the screen. Anything that's subjective, the referee should make the final decision. And that's the referee on the pitch. And that was supposed to be the aim this year, wasn't it? Unless it was so blatantly obvious. And I wouldn't say that was either way. But there we go. I'm just looking to see if the scout reports have any 18 or unders. And they do. A 17-year-old Argentinian striker. He's more a target man though. Doesn't really suit the way we want to play. There's a striker from Everton. Not got the biggest potential in the world though. And he can't finish. Not our cup of tea. And the rest are all too old. So we're a few days away from Stoke, who have won again against Villa. They're now back in the top four and fighting for Champions League football. And we're the ones that have got to make that happen. In Spain, they book players for handball. For example, Dyer and Joel Ward would have been booked and it wasn't even handball. I know. But they showed a stat, didn't they? That's last season where in Syria and in La Liga, they had they already had this handball rule in place. At that point, they had 3 times the amount of penalties for handball. So the Premier League was under 20, and it's already nearly topped that this season. And the La Liga and Serie A had 48 and 54, I think. So If we're going to apply the rule, that's what we're going to have to get used to. But I'm certainly not a fan of it. Particularly for me and Craig, we've always been defensive players, haven't we? So why would you want that to be the case? Because you can't win. You can't find a way to get your arm out the way. And it's become such an attacker's game. And then everyone's wondering why every game finishes 4-3. Another injury in attacking positions. Nathan Mullen to add to Phil Richards. So Ashley Harrott has no competition in that number 10 role. And we've got 2 big games in 3 or 4 days. Can we ruin the Stoke Champions League dream? Can we get ourselves back in European contention? I mean, I've got to look with Liverpool and Chelsea who they're playing. Chelsea have got Villa at home. They should win. Liverpool, they have got Everton at home. That's going to be interesting. The Merseyside derby could throw something up. Let's have a look quickly at the FA Cup, because I just need to see if 7th place will get European football or not. So the final is Arsenal v Stoke, so that should be no problem at all. Stoke really becoming a powerhouse here. Let's have a look at the Champions League, just in case it's Liverpool or Chelsea. It's not. No English sides, actually. Europa League, Liverpool are still in it. So we need Tottenham to put them out, otherwise we could be in big trouble still. No 0-0s in the Premier League yet. Well, it's never going to be, is it? VAR makes everything a penalty. Shearer must be thinking about how many more he'd have with the penalties. Well, that's a good point as well, actually. For people like Aguero when he's fit and Harry Kane, I mean, they're basically getting 5 free goals a season on top, aren't they? But I'd be surprised if this rule lasts more than a year. But yeah, definitely, VAR leads to more penalties because you doubt. If you see things in slow motion, they normally look worse. 2 more games this morning, not the longest stream, as we said earlier on. I know a few of you weren't in for that. We've got to work this afternoon, so unfortunately hands are tied. Got to get to the post office before it's closed for work reasons too. So I'll be dashing out of here once we've played these 2. But it just means we've got 2 more weeks of the season. So a full house here for Burnley v Stoke. From Thursday night, most people are fit because it's been over a week now. And Nathan Mullen, not quite fit for the bench either. So, I mean, who do we bring on? There's no real quality at all. Let's go for Marcus Vinicius. Same 11 though. Bartle will come back in because Matas wasn't any better. Balogun's on form. He'll stay up front. Vimmer's not had a good couple of games. He was really poor actually the last 2. But he's the best rated player at the club now. I could bring Ruthven back in because he's more defensive minded. But Vimmer's the better man. So in he comes. It's Burnley v Stoke. Can we make it happen with the best 11? Thank you to everyone who's joining along. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. Some real players in this Stoke side. Dantas, Holm and Timon at left back. So let's go and see how they get on. I've recognised Stenson up front. He's caused us problems in this save before. And we want to see a better performance tonight. We're going to try and put a dent in their Champions League optimism and ambitions. They're level on points with City. And we have got a chance to get within a few of the Europa League places. Fingers crossed. It's Timon on the left-hand side to Holm. Harrott nicks it, but he's won the challenge again. And it's back to Holm on the left side. A word forward towards Stenson. Cleared away as far as Edmonds. Nearly got a word out in the end. As it's through ball to Balogun. Into the box alone. Sunday Balogun's on fire. And fingers crossed with his 20th of the season. We are back on the verge of European contention. It looks like other results are going against us. Chelsea have got to 50 points now. And it's Liverpool who we're chasing. And a ball into the box from Stoke. Every time we score, we concede a set piece, but that one's over the bar. 1-0 Burnley with 10 on the clock. That's what we needed. More pens for Bruno. Yeah, Manchester United seem to get more than anyone else, don't they? That always remains the case. Although most of theirs, to be fair, haven't been from handball or anything, have they? They just get fouls for absolutely everything. Although, of course, there was one at the weekend. And that brought up another one for me on Saturday. Why did the ref blow the final whistle? Why not just blow your whistle for a VAR check if you were going to blow the final whistle anyway? Because that one caused confusion as well, and that was unnecessary. But there we go. Jack Vaughan puts one wide of the post there. We are looking really good now, though. Stoke having the same amount of chances, but we're threatening, and we're causing trouble. And we're 10 to the break. We're holding on as well. That's all important. As Dantas puts it into the box for Stoke, headed away by Vaughan. Vimmer gets there on the edge. Long downfield to Balogun. Got 2 or 3 up with him. Switches to Harrott. 2 off the right. One of them's Bartle. He's in one-on-one here. Has to score. He has dragged that so far wide. I would expect to be subdivided that, to be honest. Not a good start. Leicester have had a whole bunch too. Yeah, well, they had 3 against City, didn't they? It was a pretty remarkable turn of events. But to be fair, it was a strange game, that one as well. As we've said so many times. I mean, it is good for a fan, a neutral on TV, having that many good games, but it doesn't really feel like football so much, to be honest. That's where the problem comes with it. But at half-time, we're looking all right at the moment, and Flauhaut has got a second. 5 into the second half, Flauhaut gets the second goal, and things looking lovely at the moment. This is the form we needed. It's just such a shame we were in poor form for so long. If it had ended before the first Rennes game, we'd probably still be on course for a trophy. As Dantas puts it into the box, Whittingham unmarked. Unfortunately for us, it's over the bar. Stoke wasting chances here. We're going to demand more as we get to the hour mark. No changes yet because we're doing well. 3 against City, 2 against West Brom. Yeah, the West Brom ones were pretty clear cut, I think, if I remember rightly. As Rob Simpson puts a third in. We're scoring goals from corners here. The 3 defenders up in the opposition area. They combine there to scrape it in. And it looks really good. Stoke bottling their Champions League place. And for us, keeping ourselves near contention. As Bonner gives it to Bartle. Through ball towards Balogun. And straight through to the keeper. Just overhit there slightly. But that's the thing. The penalty decisions, it's going to continue this season. We'll see if it gets overturned. Harrett gets the ball in the middle. Fonseca wins it. Stenson to Simpson, who gives it away. Another silly goal to concede here. Stenson, good save, Summerskill. How many of these misplaced passes at the back, though? It's getting very strange. Vimmer clears it away, and with 20 to go, we'll make changes. Matas on. Jack Vaughan's going to be replaced by Leon Lowry. We'll make that change further forward. And Vimmer replaced by Ruthven, a more defensive-minded midfielder. Fullback. Holm puts the ball into the box. Towards the keeper, who does really well there, Summerskill. Good play from him. Always reliable. Apart from midweek, where he gave that silly pass away. So we're going to change Lowry to an inside forward on attack. And we're going to push forward down the right here with Callum Bonner. He's got 2 inside, but he's held on for it too long. Eventually finds Rob Simpson. He's going to go back, isn't he? All the way to the keeper. Why did we need to do that? Xavier back to Simpson. Long ball down the right towards Lowry. Lowry cutting inside from that right wing. Just as we'd intended. Oh, what an effort. Hits the post. Brilliant from Leon Lowry, but he couldn't find the goal. Xavier gets it wide to Ruthven at left back. And a tactical change will be made as the highlight peters out. James Justin dispossessing Mahrez, then starting the attack for the second penalty. Yeah, he's having a great spell. Scored his first goal the week before, of course. Really good for him. West Brom Chelsea, a weird match too, yeah. And again, no one focused on the match because it ended with handball controversy, where there was plenty more that should have been spoken about there. Lowry picks it up on the right-hand side. Cuts back to his centre-half Simpson. I've got to say, considering we're playing a top 6 side, this has really been a polished performance. Flauhaut gets it up from the keeper. Summerskill can find his 5-yard pass this time. Ruthven to Flauhaut again, really professional on the ball. Back to Ruthven at left back. He's got a man down the line. Finds Owen Edmonds, who's beaten his fullback. Balogun's not made the run. I don't know why. Edmonds alone, and he's hit the post. Second time out for a goal kick. But a really good performance. We move to 48 points. Unfortunately, everyone else is winning their games, so I don't think we'll make it. But at least we're finishing with a flourish. As Simpson picks it up on halfway. He had the centre-half next to him. For some reason, went all the way back to the keeper there. Ruthven picks it up to Xavier, to Flauhaut. Oh, he's not going to go back again, is he? To Ruthven, the left back. I don't know why we're seeing this if we're just going to go backwards. Because there's not really any need to. Why are we seeing this highlight on key highlights? I don't understand. Simpson out to Matas. Matas to Simpson. It's gone on for ages. It must end with a goal. Lowry picks it up. Searching at the defence. He loves doing this. Always changes the tempo. Oh, from distance just wide. But why we needed to see the 40 seconds prior, I'm not quite sure. Lovely football indeed, composed stuff, and a 3-0 victory to enjoy. But I'm not quite sure why this form's only coming now. It's a little bit too late. We've got Leeds in a few days. If we win that, we go to 51 points. That with a game in hand on Chelsea still. Stoke have won all of theirs until that one. Liverpool on 59, but they've played a game less. I don't see how we get into the top 7. If we look at the next lot of fixtures... Liverpool face Everton, of course. Newcastle, Brentford, that doesn't affect us. We've then got Leeds. Leeds then play Chelsea. So we need to beat Leeds, them to rest everyone against us, and then to beat Chelsea. But I don't see that happening somehow. I think they'll view us as a better chance of getting points. Let's deal with the press conference. Leeds will be the last game in the morning. And then we'll come back for Manchester United and the horror running next week, which will be an absolute disaster. Are Fulham going to take Derby's unwanted record? No. But the Tony Khan thing last night, I mean, what on earth is he doing? Silly man. I mean, Scott Parker, I feel for him. Every time Fulham get into the Premier League now, they just implode under their stupid ownership. What on earth are you doing putting messages like that on? You haven't got the centre-halves in. In midweek, those centre-halves who played tonight are going to have to play. And if you're Scott Parker, you can't G them up now because the owners said they don't want them and that they're rubbish, basically. Really don't get it. And they're the same centre-halves that got you to the Premier League. So whether or not they're good enough and you don't think they are, have a bit of respect for them at least. Really annoyed me that. So, yeah, I don't know what to say. They'll get more points than Derby. But Scott Parker really being undermined again. And the problem is that owners think they know best and they see it as their moment to be in the limelight in the Premier League. The fact he's director of football and Scott Parker's post-match press conference said it all, to be honest. He was pretty honest with it. Liverpool have beaten Everton comfortably in the derby. So that is the top 7 gone, I'm afraid. Thank you to everyone that's joining along again. I do appreciate it. We've got one more game this morning against the mighty Leeds, who are having an entertaining return to the Premier League. And their keeper was absolutely outstanding on Sunday. So let's go and do the press conference. Let's go and get into the game. And just keep ourselves mathematically in contention. That's the main thing here. Things looking good though today. We've bounced back really well, given the fact that we lost every game in the last episode. And it's just a shame we had. If that run had ended a couple of games earlier, we'd beaten Sheffield United, West Ham and Rennes, or at least got 4 points there, we'd be right in contention. But as it is, we're fighting just to stay in touch. So a win will keep us in 10th tomorrow, but it will put us 1 point behind Leicester, 3 behind West Ham, sort of best of the rest. But if we get to 54 with 3 games left, it's still basically unachievable, isn't it? I think we're clutching at straws, looking at any way it could happen. And don't forget, we've got 3 of the top 4 away from home. As it is now, the top 3. Oh, they're miles clear. So we're playing all of the top 3 away from home next week in the final 4 games. I don't think it's going to happen, let's be honest. Let's go and get into the team talk. Nathan Mullen is back fit again, so he'll come onto the bench in place of Vinicius. Phil Richards not yet fit, so he won't be there. Otherwise, though, same 11. I don't think there's any harm in what's been done, so let's keep the same 11, the same 18. And for the final game of the morning, we'll cross our fingers that we can get a positive result. So 4-2-3-1 for our visitors. Pretty awful colours there in terms of the squad screen. The writing looks terrible on there. Lewis Cook's in central midfield. Kepa Arrizabalaga's in goal. That's interesting. And 4-4-1-1 for us. So we're going to ask the lads to pick up where they left off. Hopefully another positive display. And fingers crossed we'll get the victory as well. Now we're in a grey kit, so I'm not quite sure what the pink's about, to be honest. Might well be their squad numbers or whatever on the back, but they could have put in a different colour so it was easy to read. 12 minutes gone, we've had chances on target but not seen the highlight, and Balogun's got a corner now. To the back post, Flauhaus down, has to be a penalty. We're off to VAR and it's going to be given. The difference next year is we'll see the running over to the screen a lot more. Sunday Balogun's going to take it. Opportunity to make it 1-0. Not the best taker, but scores comfortably. It is Burnley 1, Leeds 0. And we're on course to get back into that top 10. We're looking good at the moment. Europe's just too late. It's just too far away. But a good start nonetheless. As Vimmer's been hacked down. That's an awful tackle. Get him off. Straight red card. Shocking 2-footed lunge. Absolutely awful tackle. Where did that come from? A free kick's not seen. And he's lucky to escape injury there. Because that was a shocking tackle. Hopefully against 10 men with a 1-0 lead. It'll be comfortable from here on in. But I don't want to get too excited because we've thrown games away from this position before this season with Burnley. It's a free kick for Balogun on the right though. Plenty in there. One's Flauhaut, heads it wide at the post. I was almost celebrating the goal already, but it is wide in the end. 1-0 at half time it's going to be. But on to 51 points and just about mathematically in it. We're going to encourage the boys. We'll keep going the way we are. It's been a good display so far actually. Dominance largely. And Balogun's got another corner. Outswinger this time. Simpson's there. Loses out in the air. It falls for Edmonds. Out to Balogun. Crosses to Vaughan and it's straight into Kepa's arms. It's not often Kepa holds his saves, but he does on this occasion. Out to the right hand side. Finds Jose Anderson. The last thing we want to do is concede on the counter. We have done it before against 10 men. We don't want to do it today. It's a long ball forward. Simpson picks it up in a centre circle to Xavier. To Harrott. To Edmonds. Edmonds picks it up on the left. Into the box. Good shot. Kepa saves it. Down to his right. I think it was going wide anyway. I wish they'd walk up to the screen more often and then say no, not a penalty. I don't think that's ever happened in FM20. Every single time we've had it in the leagues I've managed that have been, which admittedly isn't long, but every single time they've gone to the screen, it's been a penalty. I've never seen not one given. Bonner picks it up on the right to Vaughan. So yeah, I agree. I'd like to see you. But then in real life, I don't think I've seen many where not a penalty's been given. To be fair, as Vaughan picks it up and comes into the box, back to Xavier. Really composed play by Vaughan. Picked out his man. It's back to Bartle eventually. And the man who's had a pretty poor season in truth has finally scored a goal. And hopefully his match rating will go up with it. But a really good game, a really good performance. But as we mentioned, too late in the season. I've just seen on the Leeds bench though, Robbie Stockford. Does anyone remember that name from the head coach? He was an absolute superstar. He played for us at Charlton, a really good player there. When was it? 23-24. Started the season with us really well, and unfortunately we ended up leaving quite quickly. But a really good player, now an England international, and sitting on Leeds' bench for some reason, when he's better than the centre-halves that are starting. But Downing picks it up on the left side for Leeds. Goes inside to Whitehead. He's got the left winger with him. Goes alone though, and that's into the corner. Summerskill beating it his near post. Whitehead given acres of space to score. And just because it's 2-0 against 10 men, there's no point us getting excited, because we are an absolute mess defensively. 5 minutes to the hour mark. I'm going to take Vimmer off now because he's been nervy, he's been poor. Ruthven on for him. Harrott replaced by Mullen. And we'll leave the last sub 5 minutes. But it has not been a good display from those two. As Bonner throws into Harrott. Crosses to the back post. Edmonds there, but it doesn't reach him. Headed away to Anderson. And they're threatening a second here, Leeds. They've got 10 men and they look with more confidence since the goal. Flauhaut picks it up to Vimmer. Inside to Harrott. To the left to Edmonds. Can he find Balogun in the box? He's going alone instead. But he's dragged this shot wide. It's not good enough, really. And it remains 2-1. And Balogun's got another free kick. Good effort on goal. Tipped over by Kepa. Really good save. And he's out for a corner which Balogun will take. Outswinging delivery. Chance to deliver. To the front post. Downing heads away. Edmonds can't get there and Cook brings it clear. 2 subs made. Still 2-1 and still nervy against the 10 men of Leeds. I don't expect it to be a 50-50 sort of thing, but every now and then just to add excitement. Now it's just a waste of time because you know it's a pen. Yeah? I can't argue with anything you've said there. You're completely spot on. I would like to see it not given. I'd love to see the referee stronger in real life and say no, it's not occasionally. For penalties, for red cards, whatever. As Jack Vaughan just squeaks one into the corner there. Bit of a tiddler into the bottom corner. Didn't look like it was going to make it. But in the end it has gone in. But yeah, I'd love to see it in real life and I'd love to see it in FM. I completely agree with you. It just seems like almost a formality now. The referee should make the final decision, but my argument is if there wasn't a VAR referee in his ear and he was watching some of those images, would he give a penalty? And the answer to me is no. Jack Vaughan picks it up in the middle here. Chance to come forward, but loses the ball again. And Leeds have got another chance on the counter. Bonner heads it away and thankfully it finds Xavier. To Bonner again on the right. To Bartle. To Mullen. Through ball towards Vaughan. Loses the challenge but keeps possession somehow. 1-2 with Balogun. Back to Mullen. Finds Xavier. We just need that third goal. A fourth goal, sorry, to wrap it up. Balogun back to Vaughan. Vaughan shoots and there is the fourth goal. Jack Vaughan with a screamer. And finally we can put the game to bed against 10 men. Jack Vaughan with a wonderful finish there. And he scored right and left foot now. Can he sneak a header for the end? Could have a perfect hat-trick just yet. It's a corner kick for Balogun. This has got to be the chance. Into the back post. Vaughan was there, but it didn't reach him. Edmonds again, cutting in, hits the post. Smacked it and then goes wide. 4-1 is the score though. And it is a fantastic performance in the end against 10. On to 51 points. We've done as well as we can. The goal difference is great. But that little 2-month collapse is going to forever haunt us in this series. A wonderful result to finish. A wonderful performance. And we stay in 10th place, but just in contention. So we've got an absolute horror show coming up next week. The top 3 away from home and Aston Villa at home. They're still fighting against relegation. But in terms of the league, it is a real outside chance. We've got 4 games. The highest number of points we can finish on is 64. Stoke are already on 63. Liverpool 62 and Chelsea 60. I don't see a way we make it, to be really honest. Let's have a look at Chelsea's running, because they're the only ones who could drop it. They're away to Leeds and Stoke and at home to Sheffield United. So will Chelsea get 5 points there? Yes. Will we get all of our points? No. So let's be honest and just admit it's over. Unfortunately, no European football. We want to get best of the rest. Good news for next season at least that we're back on track. You're absolutely spot on there, Wapos. And without Europe to focus on next year and only 1 fixture a week, maybe the domestic cups we can play our first team. We can perhaps push for a competition and maybe not go out to lower league opposition each time. But that's all to come. Next week, we will have the conclusion of this season. Apologies, it's a slightly shorter one today, but unfortunately, the day job has to come first. A massive thank you for coming along this morning and making the chat act nice and active. It's great to talk football. We'll talk a bit more about FM21 in the coming weeks and hopefully announcement of a Discord server as well. So thank you for your support. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. I really have enjoyed it this morning. And there'll be a full replay for anyone who missed the start earlier. That will be available later on the channel. Cliftonville's back at 4:30. I hope to see you for that one. And thank you again for your incredible support. See you next week. Thanks for watching.